Chapter 20 is on short-term business decisions. We're going to have a couple objectives. We'll describe and identify information relevant to business decisions. We'll make special order and pricing decisions. We'll learn how to drop a product and how to make a decision to drop a product and make a product mix decisions. And most importantly is number 4, make outsourcing and sell as is, or process further decisions, okay? That's the one we'll pay the most attention to. All right, so let's describe and identify information relevant to business decisions. So let's look at this graph. That's going to give you a little map on how managers make decisions. So as the first step, we want to define our business goals. Okay, that's our last chapter. Do you remember how we learned what is our, how to find our target break-even points, what is the break-even point? That's really right here, define business goals. Okay, the first one is also going to let us to increase profits or market share, and then the second step is going to be we'll identify alternative courses of actions, and then the third step, relative information is gathered and analyzed. Okay, we'll compare the alternatives. And then the next one, we're going to choose the best alternative. Okay. All right. So what is the relevant information? When managers make decisions, they want to utilize only relevant information. Relevant information it has a couple components that we'll discuss as well. It's expected future data, okay? That future data is going to differ from alternative to alternative. So let's look at this. We have relevant information, okay, that consists of expected future, that's cost and revenue data. Some data in the very expected future, right? So like sales forecast as an example. And then also we're going to have some other alternatives that will have a similar information. So for example, do we accept the special order, or do we reject the special order? Okay, so some alternatives. All right. Another important, so we just said that we have some relevant information, right? Within that relevant information, we also have relevant costs and irrelevant costs that we need to distinguish. So which cost we should never account for, and which one do we include? Which one do we need to understand and need to know how to account for? So our relevant costs are going to be such costs like, for example, a company is going to consider purchasing a delivery truck. Okay, just an example out there. So what are we going to account for? What do we need to understand? We want to understand what is the cost of that truck, right? Is there any sales tax that we'll need to also understand, right? Is there, so for example, oh, I don't have it written out here. All right, so sales tax, for example, insurance premium, or other relevant costs. So we need to really make it clear which costs are going to be relevant and which are not. Okay, so they will affect our decision, as we just figured out, and then they also are going to occur in the future, right? So after we make the decision, some costs are going to occur in the future. So we can't really, before we make a decision, we're not going to know for sure what costs are going to be. We can only estimate, right? We can probably predict. they also are going to differ among all the alternatives that we have on the table. So what does it mean? An example would be each truck has a different invoice price, sales tax, insurance premium, right? So just what we apply for our case, we're also applying for the alternative. I said that if we're buying a truck, we have to account for all the costs, right? And I named price, tax, insurance. Well, that same criteria applies also for your alternatives, right? Maybe other vendors who are selling the trucks. So we'll account for the same price, taxes, and insurance with other alternatives. So what would be irrelevant costs? They're not going to affect the decision that we're about to make, right? What it is going to be, it's our sunk costs. Sunk costs are the ones that are not going to affect my decision right now. An example of a sunk cost is my past purchases. What are those? Those irrelevant costs are the ones that occurred in the past. We can't really change them because they occurred already in the past, no matter what vendor we're going to select or what decision we're going to make. Okay, so they're going to be irrelevant to our decision. The other point why it's also irrelevant, not only because we can go with, I don't know, another vendor or something like that, right? But also because the current business situation might be very different from the one that caused the past decision. So we do not apply whatever we had for the past selection, for example, of the vendor, to what we're doing right now. Okay, so that brings us to the relevant non-financial information. Non-financial information is usually your qualitative information. That's so we're going to consider some qualitative factors. For example, what is impacting employee morale is one of the most important ones. Okay, so for example, we know outsourcing, right? How is it affecting employee morale? What do you think? Yeah? Why is it decreasing it? All right, yeah, that's good. What about layoffs? How is it going to impact employee morale? And why layoff would impact? Ben, the only one who read the book? It's very similar, right? It's also going to show other employees that layoffs might be coming because first wave, second wave, you don't know when the wave is going to be the last one.
Does it increase the morale? If they know layoffs are occurring, are they going to work harder or work?
Do you think it will increase? If I'm firing people, if I'm going to give all of you F right now on the exam, would it increase morale? Right? It's not. That's the same story.
You don't know who's getting fired. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, the first wave, the first exam passed, everyone got an F. What are you going to do with the second exam? You're going to go and drop. You're going to go like, okay. You're probably going to look for another job, right? And spend much less time at work, so it's going to decrease. The same with outsourcing. Why am I going to another country? Well, outsourcing is not necessarily the other country, to another vendor to outsource something, right? So why am I outsourcing? Is in-house employee not good enough? Right? It's also going to impact the quality. How is it going to impact the quality? We're going to have higher, for example, if we have higher product recalls, right, or warranty costs, that should tell us, that's our relevant non-financial information that tells us something is with the product, for example, if we have lots of recalls or warranty costs. Okay. And then customer relations. The last one. Why customer relations is a factor in the decision making. I really wanted to see today if you read it. Why discounted prices to select customers? What am I talking here about? Ben, you've read the book? Yeah? Customer relations. Why customer relations affecting decision making?
Because it could get regular customers upset and it might make particular customers.
Right? Because if I'm, yeah?
It can affect like the terms that you give, so you have some customers that you give no payment terms for as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
that would be the select customer.
Yes.
So new customers you probably wouldn't give such good terms to.
Mm-hmm. So yeah.
Customer relationships, doing like retailers really treat your customer good. You're always talking about really people.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And when you give a new customer, thank you, when you give a new customer a discount, but it's only for a new one and the old one is still sticking to the full price, that's upsetting, right? Because I'm a loyal customer, I stayed with you for 20 years, but you're giving a 50% discount to a new one, right? Okay. So we're going to use the same guidelines to identify non-financial information, relevant non-financial information, as relevant costs. They occur only in the future, and they differ between the alternatives. All right. So to make a right decision, let's discuss what are the key points to make a short-term decision. So we have relevant information approach, and we have contribution margin approach. We've talked about contribution margin last class, right? Relevant information approach we just covered. So let's go a little bit more into detail. Relevant information approach is your incremental analysis approach. Okay? That means, again, that you're going to only include your relevant information and you will disregard all of the irrelevant. And we just discussed which one is which. Okay, so we'll focus on relevant revenues, costs, and profits, right? And then when we use our contribution margin approach, we're going to, again, understand how we separate costs, variable costs from fixed cost. And we'll also see how the operating income differs from all the alternatives. Okay? So right here, we'll look what is our variable cost and what is our fixed cost. We've done it last chapter, right? And we'll see how operating income is different. Right? To make a decision, it assumes that I have more than one alternative. So you will have, for each of your alternative, you will have your relevant revenues, costs, and profits decided, mapped, not decided. And then for the contribution margin approach, you will use your variable cost, fixed cost for each of the alternatives. Okay? More than one. Okay. So you're trying to decide here whether to trade in your inkjet printer for a more recent model. Okay, your usage pattern will remain unchanged, but the old and new printers use different ink cartridges. So let's try to identify which is relevant cost and which is irrelevant cost. So let's indicate if the following items are relevant or irrelevant to your decision. The price of the new printer. Relevant? Why?
It's relevant.
Use the price of your recent purchase. You're gonna buy it, so you get to know what it costs.
Mm-hmm. Okay. The price you paid for the old printer. Okay. The trade-in value of the old printer. Why?
Is that the basic price of the new printer?
Mm-hmm. Paper costs? Why irrelevant?
There's nothing.
Because no matter what printer you have, it's still the same.
Okay. The difference between ink cartridges costs. Good job. All right. So let's look at the second one. What we're going to learn right now is how we make special order and pricing decisions. So the first one was not that difficult, right? The second one, what we want to understand is when to accept a special sales order and when not. So what is a special order? Special order is something that deviates from my regular production. Yeah? It's a one-time order at the regular sale price. Okay, a one-time order. Why would it matter to me when to accept a special order and when not? Because my production cycles are getting much shorter, right? And when the customer is requesting a one-time order, it's more significant to me, okay? It's a very short time decision, so I need to make it quick, okay? So what are my considerations mainly? Does the company have excess capacity available to fill this order? Okay, so the production cycles right now not only getting shorter, but also they get less, lost the word, less identical, okay? So they're shorter, the batches are adjusted to the customer, think of it that way. Okay, so another question that we need to ask, will the reduced sales price be high enough to cover that incremental cost of filling this order? So the variable cost and any additional fixed cost, that's us going to the previous slides. Okay, I need to understand what are my variable costs and what are the fixed costs that are in addition. And will the special order affect my regular sales in the long run? So things even like production of cars, okay? Order like, you know, if you're buying a model 2011, 2012, and 2013, they're going to be different, right? So production cycles got much shorter. They're different from each other, right? Do you see that? Okay. So let's look. What's happening? First, our managers are going to consider the capacity. We're going to ask a question, is there excess of capacity? And if the company is already making as many units as possible with the existing capacity, then what's going to happen? Are they going to go with the regular sales price, or what would they do if the business is going to its capacity? It wouldn't make sense, right? Right? Okay, so it would not make a sense to me to fill in that special order at reduced sales price. Okay, so they will reject the special order. Okay, so does reduced price cover variable costs? If it's a yes, they will consider. If it's a no, then they will reject it. Okay? Sometimes a business will incur fixed cost, but not as much variable cost. Sounds odd, right? But that might be the case. For example, if I have to, well, think of an example. What could it be? Fixed cost, but not the variable cost. Insurance premium. Okay, that might be the case. Okay, will the special order affect regular sales in the long run? So here we'll have to split it into other questions. Will regular customers find out and demand the lower price? We have to understand that because we can get some customers very upset. Will special orders start a price war with competitors? Those questions are very important to answer before the decision is made. Will special order customer demand lower price on a regular basis? So once we got that lower price, am I going to expect it the next billing cycle? Yeah? We're going to expect the same bill or not? All right. So when managers are looking at these questions, the main thing that they want to understand is, does it worth to take this special order and complete it, or is it better to reject it? And as you see, not all of the answers to these questions can be quantified, right? Some of them is the qualitative analysis, right, of the outcome. Again, all of this is based on the future data, not on the past, not whatever you had contracts last week or whatever. It's all happening in the future, and you're making decisions before that contract is signed, right? Or that order is in. All right, so how can we make it happen? We have an exhibit here, 26, that shows us special sales order that increases our revenue. So let's look what happens here. So we focus just on relevant data here in incremental analysis. We'll look at our revenues and costs that change if the special order is accepted. And then we know this, we'll use contribution margin approach that will separate the variable and the fixed costs. So let's look here. We have revenue that goes up, right, just like I said, by 67,500. How did we find this? We have special sales order of 10,000 DVDs. So it's 10,000 by 6.75. We got 67,500. And then we also expect increase in variable manufacturing cost. Right? We got it by 10,000 multiplied by 650. So what is the result? It's the same story about the Smart Touch, right? Yeah, those DVDs we've talked about for the whole semester right now. So what happens here? We have a contribution margin increase by 2,500. Expected increase in operating income by 2,500. Do I have anything else? Yes. Okay. So fixed costs are the same, but operating income went up by 2,500. So will the expenses change? What do you think? Fixed manufacturing expenses. Probably won't, right? Because we have the capacity of producing those 10,000 DVDs. So in this case, it would not change. We won't need to add, think of it this way, we won't need to add any additional facility. So when making a decision, you have to account for that. That's necessary. Not only you are calculating your increase in operating income, you want also to understand what's happening to your fixed cost here. All right. So decision rule is, do we accept, is practically guiding you, should you accept or should you not? So if expected revenue, if expected increase in revenue exceeds expected increase in variable and fixed cost, then you will accept it. But if it's not, then you will reject. If expected increase in revenues is less than expected increase in variable and fixed costs, you will reject it. So it's a little map, a little Latin's paper. Are you accepting or are you rejecting? So for that, we just learned how to calculate. We have all the tools on hand, right? We can understand, is our variable and fixed cost going up or down? What's happening to revenue? And so we can make a decision whether we're accepting or rejecting that special order. So right now we're going to try to make a decision whether we're going to accept or decline that offer. We have this Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. So they got approached with a special order. The Hall of Fame wishes to purchase 57,000 baseball card packs for a special promotion campaign and offer 41 cent per pack. And the total is 23,370. So Hobby Cards' total production cost is 61 cents per pack. Hobby Cards has enough excess capacity to handle the special order, right? Remember that. And so we have costs, variable costs, that include direct material, direct labor, and variable overhead. And we also have fixed overhead. And so the breakdown is given. We need to prepare an incremental analysis to determine whether they should accept the special order, right? And I wrote out to you, fixed costs remain the same. Always be careful about this. So let's do number 1 first. And then we'll do number 2. And make a decision whether you are accepting or not. So once you're done, tell me if you're accepting it or not. Okay, first an incremental analysis on what's given. Don't look at the 2 yet, just whatever is given to you. So your incremental analysis is going to look, let me just give you a little heads up. It's going to look something like this. Okay? Just to remind you. Just a little bit of time, 2-3 minutes. Okay? Do you accept or reject? 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 Are you sure? What numbers are you getting? What is your expected increase in revenues? Did you get that? So expected increase in revenues, your variable manufacturing cost. Yeah, is the only thing that you need to calculate. And so the second thing that you need to do is to understand, is it increase or is it decrease? So what you do, you take 23,370 and you subtract 17,670. So are we rejecting or are we accepting?
Can you go to the previous slide?
Yeah? So total is given to you, 23, right, 370. And so the only thing you do, you calculate your variable manufacturing cost, and then you see if it's increasing or decreasing. Your operating income is increasing or decreasing. Okay, so we'll accept that. Okay. So second part. Yes, almost good. Huh? So where are your fixed costs here? Okay, where would you put that? When you're calculating your incremental analysis, what did we say it includes? Let's go back. So do we need to put fixed costs here or not? Right? We use a contribution margin approach that separates variable. Great. But the incremental analysis is when you're calculating your expected increase in revenues and then expected increase in variable manufacturing cost. So you use those two and you calculate your expected increase or decrease in operating income. And from that you're making your decision. Right? Okay. So 2. Now we'll assume that they have another special order. They will spend $5,900 additional fixed cost to develop this hologram, which will be useless after the special order is completed. You are not going to be able to utilize it again, right? So should they accept the special order? All right? So what did you get? What numbers do you got? We have 23,370. We're calculating our variable manufacturing cost. Now here we'll add fixed manufacturing cost to 5,900. Okay? And so the total we calculate shows us that the expected change in operating income is a decrease. So we'll reject it. Right? Is that clear how you calculate? All right. So our managers are going to always start with 3 basic questions, which are what is our target profit, how much will customers pay, and are we a price taker or a price setter? So with the first question, what is our target profit, we're going to want to understand how is this affecting our stockholders. Because if you noticed a little bit, once the company is not hitting the target, for some reason the stock is going down. Right? So we see this trend that stockholders are not happy. And it's because once I'm not hitting the target profit, something is not right in my operations. So when I'm setting my targets, I want to really make sure I'm hitting them, right? So that my stockholders are happy. Um, so how can I do that? I can keep my costs maybe low. Yeah. Maybe I can generate more revenue so that I get to my target profit. So that's going to lead us to a second question. So how much customers are willing to pay? Can we as a managers just set the price at any point? No, we cannot, right? It has to be at the point where our customers are willing to pay that price. That has couple interesting ideas. Like, for example, how much competition do I have? Do I really have that power to put the price out there and have customers to grab it? Yeah. So the more competition is out there, the harder for me to change the price so that it's very different from the market. Yeah. So it's probably pretty much close to the market if I have competitors out there. Okay. And then the third question, we have price setters and we have price takers. And we need to identify, is our business, is the company that we have managers from, are they price takers or are they price setters? And that will explain how we need to price that product. That will help us. So at the two sides, we have price takers on one side, price setters on the other one. On the horizontal line, right? So who are price takers? When our product is not that unique. Okay? What does it mean that my product is not very different from another producer? That means that that customer can go to another one and still satisfy the needs. Yeah? Intense competition, when I have many businesses producing a similar product, not very unique. And then pricing approach emphasizes target pricing. Okay, when we have a target pricing, and we're going from there to set our price. So who are the, actually let me give you an examples. So food commodities, that would be a price taker. Why is it a price taker? Because if it's not this grocery store, I'm going to go to the next one. Yeah, if it's not that farm, I'm going to go to another one if I'm a bigger business. Natural resources. Right? Generic consumer products and services. What's a generic consumer service? Huh? Service. Not the product. Service. Tylenol, yeah. Huh? Huh? Yeah? Auto shop, right? Maybe haircut? Yeah? Alright. So let's look who are price setters. The product is unique here. Or more unique, different. Different from the other vendor. We don't have much competition usually within price setters. And pricing approaches emphasizes cost plus pricing. So we have a cost and then on top of that, and then that's how we derive the price, not from the target. So what would be examples? Tech gadgets, the latest ones. Some specially manufactured machinery. Original art, jewelry, and some perfume sets that got a patent there. So what would be another example of the price setter? Who is the price setter right now in the market? Huh? Maybe. Yeah, I guess. It's the only one. Okay.
OPEC,
Huh?
OPEC for oil.
Okay. Yeah.
What about medicine?
Medicine? I guess it depends which one. Because if it's just Advil or some derivation of ibuprofen, you can get ibuprofen in many different, ways and versions. So I guess it depends on what medication. Yeah? All right. So from here we're going to price decision rule. How to approach pricing. So we said we need the company to identify, are we price takers or are we price setters? And as I just mentioned, but I want to emphasize this, my price takers use target pricing approach, when my price setters are going to use cost plus pricing approach. Okay? Price setters have more power to determine the price of the product. Your price takers pretty much have to go with the flow of the market. All right. So here is, let's say the business is a price taker. With that, we're going to go with the target pricing, and we need to understand right now what is target pricing. So at first, we're going to start with our market price of the product. What we're going to do, we're going to go and survey, okay, and see what are customers willing to pay. And because we're price takers, there are plenty of other producers out there, businesses out there that are in very similar, with a very similar product. So what we're going to do, we're going to go look at their prices, we're going to see what customers are willing to take, so we'll survey the market and see what is that price that our customers are willing to pay, and they pay. From that, we'll subtract our desired profit, and that will tell us what is the target full cost. Do you see how we're starting with the market price? Right? The price that's set out there in the market, and then we're coming slowly back to our company and calculating what is our full cost. So it's going from the market to the company. Okay? So it's a price taker. We got some price, and now we're going to derive from that. So full cost to develop, produce, and deliver the product or service is what we're going to get at the end. So revenue at market price, we'll subtract desired profit and get target full product cost. Or very similar, revenue minus cost of goods sold, target net income. Okay, either one. I gave you two. So the market price here is taken. Yeah, we're price takers. Done? Okay, so we have some options. We can reduce our fixed costs, we can reduce our variable costs, great. Makes sense, right? To reduce some costs. We can also accept the lower operating income. So what we're really doing here, we're trying to play with this line. Okay, so that we can, with these two lines. We're trying to understand how we can get to that price so that we're still making our profit better. So we'll accept maybe lower operating income, or maybe we'll use other strategies. What are they? We can use excess capacity. That's going to let us to spread some of the fixed cost over more units that are produced, right? The more I produce, the more I can spread that cost. I can also alter my product mix. Okay, I can maybe change the items in that product mix, right? That bundle, or maybe I can add, or maybe I can change my product so that I'm the price setter, that my product distinguishes so much from the competitor that I can set my price. Okay, so what am I doing if I'm a price setter? So let's say I decided to use that last option to differentiate my product, and I decided to become a price setter. I'm going to use the cost plus pricing. Okay, for that I will use a cost plus approach, and the difference between my target pricing approach and the cost plus approach is not only in that in one case I have a company that's capable only of taking a price of the competitors and modifying maybe costs, but in this case I'm going to actually set my price. I'm going to dictate the market. What is the price that I need? So I will start with my full costs, right here. I'll add my desired profit, and that will tell me what is my cost plus price. What does it mean if I'm going from my costs? You remember how last time we went to the market, we surveyed and we saw, okay, so what our customers are trying to pay? Our competitors' customers are trying to pay. So we asked the market, what should be the price? Now we're going to say, well, this is my cost, and this is what I want as a profit, and this is how I'm going to come to the price. Do you see the direction is different? So how am I calculating here my prices? So at first, obviously, I do want to set the price at which my customers are still going to be willing to buy my product. Okay, the price needs to be within reasonable range. And also, I want to understand not only how much my customers need my product, but also what is the difference to the nearest competitor that I have. What is the difference in my product? Yes?
Would like high-end brands, like companies, be considered cost plus even though their products aren't the same? They still set their own prices.
What is a high-end company? Example.
Yeah, like Louis Vuitton, Coach, like stuff like your brand. Like you know how people put things in because it's a certain brand, it could be.
Is it the same than any other? So let's say, okay, you're saying it's...
Well, I mean, the brand's different. You're not going to get the same, like you can maybe have like the same watch from Fossil or Michael Kors, but odds are the Michael Kors watch will be more expensive because it's a Michael Kors watch. Like I'm saying,
Okay.
it does cost.
So do you think it's the same product, or is it different?
I mean, they're both watches.
So if it doesn't matter to you, but does it matter to other people? Why are they paying so much? With the watch example, if I'm going and I'm buying an expensive watch, I'm not just buying a watch, right?
Well, you're buying the name. That's what I'm saying.
You're also buying a higher quality.
For the most part, but
It's very different.
Does branding have anything to do with cost plus?
Does it differentiate the product very much from the next one? So you're talking about the watch. Is Rolex watch different from the, what is the other brand? Fossil. If it's the same, why well?
It's a,
With Michael Kors and Fossil, Michael Kors is made by Fossil. If you have to send your watch, you have to pay 50 cents to Michael Kors. What you're paying for is the name. That's basically it. Because they're made by the same company.
Okay, so it's the same watch?
You're just paying for the name.
Are you sure you're just paying for the name?
pretty much.
So it doesn't matter. So it doesn't, so you don't care about the name, right? So you don't care about the name. Well,
Like, you're basically paying for the name. They make the same thing. They come from the same company.
okay,
You're paying for the name.
okay.
You can't really compare like the Fossil.
So how come they went, so how come they set the price at that level? If it's the same. Okay, so it makes a difference, right?
So the name makes it unique.
Right?
So that's what I was saying.
Right. So if it doesn't different, if it's not different to you per se, right? If it's one brand or the other, then maybe it doesn't make a difference to you. But to customers, it does. Okay. So if they're going and they're buying a much more expensive watch, like let's say Rolex, right, versus a Walmart version, that's because they want to, right? It means more to them. They're willing to put that difference in the pricing. And it's probably because one is better made than the other. But Michael Kors, I don't know this difference between Fossil and Michael Kors.
The name also match with the quality of the product.
Exactly.
The name.
That's what I'm saying. So if it's a Swiss watch and made in China watch, you know, on the regular, not saying much made in China is bad, I'm just saying that made in China with a lower quality or Swiss made high quality, then it's also a quality difference. So I don't know the difference between, I don't know these two brands difference, okay? All right? So how do we calculate? So some portion of that price is the relative respect to that brand, right? So maybe if I'm buying a Fossil watch and I'm buying a Michael Kors watch, Michael Kors maybe is repaired free that many times because they stand by their product, but a Fossil is a cheaper price, so they think if you need to set it in, you're going to pay that much. Okay? Just like that. So, good example, happened to me a couple of weeks ago. Got a suitcase out of the airplane. It's smeared with gum. Smeared. Expensive tummy bag. Send it back, they sent me a new one back. Yeah, I paid the premium, but it was sent me absolutely brand new. So if I were to go and buy a cheaper one, I would not be able to. So in the end, would I be paid less or, I don't know, right? So here's an example. You pay much more in advance, but I got a new one back. Right? So it's the name, it's the respect that stands behind the name. Right? So that's also, that costs you something. So let's look at the calculations. We have current variable costs. We know how to calculate that, right? It's number of DVDs by the cost, by variable cost of each. We add current fixed costs. That way we calculate the full product cost. We also add the desired profit, right? We said we want to add the desired profit. We are price setters. So we're going to say we want to have 10% on top of that, of the average assets. That's how we'll calculate our profit. Okay, so what is my target revenue? My target revenue is 1,110,000. I'll take and I'll divide by a number of DVDs that I had ordered, 100,000. Okay, so I got this $11.10. That's my cost plus price side. It's the price per DVD. Cost plus price. Okay? So we're going from our cost, we add the profit, and that's how we find the price per DVD, per unit. I have that. So let's try this, 2022. No, we're not going to try that. Oh no, it's very long. No, it's very long. Actually, no. Let's do this. I'll help you along the way. Green Thumb operates a commercial plant nursery where it propagates plants for garden centers throughout the region. They have $4,800,000 in assets. Its yearly fixed cost $600,000, variable cost for the potting, soil, container, blah, 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 blah. Each gallon size plant total $1.35. Green Thumb's volume is currently 470 units. Competitors offer the same plants, only for 3.6 each. Gardener Center then marked them up to sell to the public for $9 to $12, depending on the type of plant. Okay, so we have owners want to earn 10% profit on the company assets. What is their full cost? Okay, so we'll do first one. What is the target full cost? So what we're going to do here, we'll take revenue at current market price. I'll help you with one of them. We'll take revenue at current market price, we'll subtract desired profit, and that's how we'll get the target full cost. So is this a cost setter or price setter or price taker? Taker? So we'll use revenue at current market price, we'll subtract the profit, and that's how we figure out what is the cost that we need to be at. Okay, so how do we find our revenue? We take 470 units that's currently volume produced, and we multiply it by the market price, 3.6, right? And that's going to tell us that the revenue at market price should be at 1,692,000. And then we need to calculate desired profit. Desired profit is our 10% return of the company assets. And what are my assets? 4,800,000, right? So we know that the profit is 480,000. So my target full cost is a subtraction one from another, and we get 1,212,000. So second one, try that. We have current cost, and its owner is, we want to see if the owner is able to achieve the target profit. So we need to calculate current variable costs, current fixed costs. That will give us our total costs. Yeah? And we need to compare it to the target. Snooze alert. Any numbers? How do we calculate current variable cost? Yeah? Yeah? You know? 470,000 multiplied
By each gallon size plant total, which is
$1.35. So we get a total of 634,500.
and that's your variable cost.
Okay.
Each gallon.
How do I calculate the fixed?
Well, it's a yearly fixed cost.
Cool. It's given, right? Okay. So I add the two, and I get, I showed all of it to you. Sorry. So, yeah, the next question was, which one is higher? So actual total full cost is higher than the targeted. Right? So we're going to have some pretty upset stockholders. All right? Got it? All right, so do the third one. So we have, we want to cut variable cost to 1.2 per unit. What is its new target fixed cost? And will this decrease in variable cost allow the company to achieve its target profit or not?
What was the number again?
Your target full cost is 1212000. 1,212,000. So what's my variable cost? Can we let Ben rest? Yeah, well. Mm-hmm.
4,000.
Perfect. How did you get that?
You do the 1.20 times 470,000.
Yes, that's right. So what is the new target fixed cost? This is the difference, right? 648,000. 648,000. Okay, so it's higher than the current fixed. What does it mean? It means that green thumb will be able to achieve the target profit, right? Without any additional cost-cutting measures. All right. So the next one we have. So they started the advertising. They want to differentiate their plants from other nurseries. So it worked, right? They just, well, hold on, not yet. They decided to try it. They do not expect any volume to be affected, but they hope that they will have more control over pricing and they might be able to become price setters. So if they have to spend on advertising $115,000 and its variable cost continues to be at the same level, what will its cost plus price be? What does it mean, cost plus price? We're thinking of it as price setters, right? Do you think they will be able to sell plants to garden centers at that price? Why yes and why not? So let's think. How do we approach this? Yeah, I'm not showing you that. So what is our current fixed price? Fixed cost, sorry. Any ideas? How do we approach this? I'm going to start with my fixed cost. Let me explain to you this one. I'm going to start at my current fixed cost, right? I know it's 100,000. I will add my fixed cost of advertising, right? It's a part of our fixed cost. And I will also add variable cost. What is my variable cost? It's the number of units that I'm producing at the same variable cost per unit, right? $1.20. So this way I can calculate my total full cost. It's summation of all three. The next what I want to add, I'm a price setter, right? So I'm going from my cost to the price of the market. Next, I want to add my profit that I want to get. What is it going to be? It's 10% of the assets. So it's 4.8 million multiplied by 10%. So I want my profit to be at 480,000. Same calculation. Now this way, I can calculate my desired revenue. What is my desired revenue? It's an addition of my full costs and desired profit, right? The summation of the two. Now great, so I have that, but I need to figure out what is the cost plus per unit. What I'm going to do, I'll take my desired revenue and I'll divide it by the number of units. So I divide it by 470. Okay, that shows me that the cost plus price per unit should be at 3.74. Now, not looking at that answer down there, if it's 374, are they willing or not? Yeah, you saw that. So our retailers, they will be willing to pay the cost plus price. The marketing campaign is indeed effective. Okay? Otherwise, just staying generic nursery is good enough. All right. So we'll start with 3.